Hi, I'm Mr. Fay. I'm going to show you how to create the Year 12 phone holder project using ShapR3D, which is on the iPads. This isn't going to be a basics video, so if this is the first time of you using Shaper, ask your teacher to find you the pizza cutter demonstration, because this video goes into the basics and the fundamentals of what the program's all about and how to do basic things. For this video, we're going to jump straight into it and go at full speed. So make sure you're up to date with the pizza cutter first. So the Year 12 phone holder is based on a base, which is made up of two layers, which is an acrylic layer and an aluminium layer. This is the little design that I've drawn out in 2D design. There's also two acetal pins, so plastic pins, which have a threaded part to the end. We're going to be creating that. And also a larger aluminium pin that has threaded part also. These threaded parts go to an internally threaded 3 holes on the base. So we'll go through all of this to get a high quality visual at the end of it. So first things first, we're going to open up the ShapR3D app, which is just on your iPads, and you'll be greeted with a welcome screen. Like I previously said, here's the pizza cutter video. This is something I honestly think you should all do before doing this example, just because this video with the pizza cutter goes into a lot more detail about how to do things click by click, where this phone holder project are going to go at a slightly quicker speed, okay? So here we go, we're going to start off with a new document, and you're greeted with your 3 axis. I'm going to go to the top axis, just here, and then we're going to start drawing in the shape of our design for the base. So first things first, I'm going to get the line tool, and then I'm going to start drawing a line. I know in my design this is going to be 120 millimeters across. If I zoom out, go, and what I might do is just grab, go back, click on that, and then grab it across, just so it's on that vertical axis. And then I'm going to draw 2 lines, which is going to be at 60 degrees. The thing is, if I was to draw a line, and then the other line, and then get it to work out the 60 degrees angles on all these corners of a triangle, it's going to skew and go a little bit crazy. I'll show you that as an example anyway. So what I'm going to do is get that back to where it should be. And then I'm going to draw my line up here, my line up there. And a way of seeing the angle between 2 lines is if you click on the 2 lines, it'll throw up the angle. So I was very close at 59 degrees, because for an equilateral triangle, it's 60 degrees on each side. So if I was to click on this and then type in 60 and hit across, you can see that this bottom horizontal line is actually slightly skewed, and it's going to make drawing in the rest of the design quite tough. So I'm going to show you a way of getting around that. What you can actually do, if I go back to my first line drawn, you can select it. And then over on the right hand options here, you can click more, and then it says horizontal or vertical. So we can actually select it to be a horizontal and actually stay horizontal no matter what changes we do. So that is pretty much locked in that axis now. So now we can go back to our drawing of the line, and then say draw a line across here, and then clicking the 2 lines, throws up the angle. So now if I change it to 60, it's going to change the size of the triangle but not change that angle, which is going to make it a lot easier. So here again it says 57, so I'm just going to go to 60, and then this one should be automatically be 60 as well. So this is obviously how I'm going to do the base for my design. Your design might be completely different. What I'm going to do is select all these, and I'm just going to move them by just going to the move and rotate, and then just bring them down. I just like things to be central with those, where those axes meet on the grid. And in my design, I've got 3 circles, which are a diameter of 40 millimeters. So what I'm going to do is hit on this. That's a line, sorry, circle. I'm going to hit 40 there. I've also got another one just here, which is going to be 40. And there's going to be one here, which is going to be 40. For this, I'm also going to put in the 3 pilot holes where the pins are going to go into. So they're just in the middle of these circles for my design. So I'm going to go across, and I know that it would need to be a 5mm pilot hole there, 5mm pilot hole there, and 5mm pilot hole there. Essentially, that should be how the shapes that my base is made out of. So I'm just going to hit exit sketch, and that's looking okay right there. So now it's time to actually extrude the shape. So the way I'm going to do this is using the pen. I'm going to click on all the shapes except for those 3 holes. Those 3 holes right in the middle there, because I want them to stay holes in our base. And when I've got those selected, I can get those double arrows to extrude and pull up. And I know, say for the base part, so the bottom of the base part is acrylic, it's 3mm thick. So if I type in 3 here and hit OK, and you should see now your really nice bit of 3mm acrylic. So change of my design that I've also got is on these corners. I knew that this would be very sharp, being a 60-degree angle, and especially it being plastic and metal, it's going to be very, very sharp. So what I'm going to do is select the 3 outside edges on those corners, and I'm just going to round it off to a 3mm radius. So just as a reminder, you can click on the dialog box, which is just down here, type in your measurement, and I know a +3 is going to be a nice curved radius, a -3 is going to give you a chamfered edge. And because I selected all of those 3 edges, all 3 now have a nice rounded edge. Another part of my design is smoothing out, not a sharp edge, but a very flat, blunt edge round the circle piece where it joins the triangle. So I'm going to add a radius on these, but I need to select all of them. So I'm selecting all of them around here. Oops, just zoomed in a little bit too much. And another one there. And by pulling back, you can obviously do your radius or your chamfer. So I'm going to do a 3mm rounded radius just on those edges there. Now what I want to do is create the aluminium part, which is going to sit on top of this acrylic shape. It's exactly the same, it's just a different thickness. So I'm going to show you how to create a copy of that really nice and quickly. So you double tap on the shape and it selects it all. And this is where you could normally move it up, down, left and right, etc. So I am going to move it up in the y-axis, but I'm going to do a copy. So if I hit the little copy button first and then drag the y-axis, you'll see I make a nice copy, and I want that just to sit above it for now. And you can hit deselect body. And at the moment, this piece is only it's 3mm thick because it's copied the one below, but the aluminium we use is 2mm. So if I hit this first surface, it automatically says that it's 3mm thick. So I'm going to change that to 2mm, and you can see it's made it a little bit thinner on that top piece. So now I can double click, bring it down, and I just want it to sit perfectly on top of the acrylic base piece at the bottom there. And if I hit deselect, there's our 2 pieces sandwiched together. When you actually come to make this, these will be laminated together with an epoxy resin, so it'll stick very, very well. But for this, it makes it a little bit difficult to see the difference at the moment because they're both grey. But when it comes to us finalising this, we'll change the colours and materials for all these pieces. Now we've got our base made up, we can go into items and you can see the two bodies. If I hide and unhide, you'll see the two bodies that we've got there. Let me just close that down. So we can actually group these together now. So if I select both of these, and I believe hit the little folder icon down in the bottom, you'll group them. So now it's going to group these together, which is handy if we just want to hide them for now, because I want to work on the next part of our design, which is the, we've got the two plastic acetal pins and obviously the aluminium pin. So first things first, I'm going to close down the items. I'm going to go to the top. Ooh, back to the top. And I'm going to get the sketch tool out to do our circle diameters of the pins. So initially, I'm going to do these upside down for now, so the threaded bit will be on top. So I know for a fact in our design that it's 10 millimeters in diameter. That's what we've got. And if I extrude this, it's going to go up by 12 millimeters. There's my 12. And on this back end, there's going to be a 1 mil chamfer. So I'm just going to type in my 1 mil there. There we go. And that's the top part of the pin. So then I'm going to do the threaded section. So I'm just going to click on the top surface and hit top on here. And then we're going to go to our sketch mode and it will allow me to draw on the top. So with the circle tool, I'm going to do a 6 millimeter shaft. So I'm going to select that, start to extrude it, and that's going to be 5 millimeters in total. What we can do is do the 1 mil, the 1 millimeter chamfer on the top. And that is essentially what our pin's going to look like, but we want to do a threaded section on this. There isn't a simple way of doing a thread, so there's a few steps to doing this, but I'll try and demonstrate that as clearly as possible. So to start doing a thread, we basically have to cut the thread out of this shaft that we've got here. So the way we're going to do it is I'm going to click on the front view so we've got a nice side profile. I'm going to zoom right up into this top angled chamfer section. I'm going to bring out my sketch, my line, okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a line up on this side which goes halfway, a line up to there, and a line down. So this is, because the guide's here, it's 0.5 millimeter across to this long edge, to this line here, but just a triangle there. And this is going to be a part that will help us make this shape that we're going to cut out. So next thing we want to do is we want to create a shape using this triangle that we've just made. Go to More, go to Revolve, because I want it to revolve all the way around the top of this piece. And the way we're going to do that, so it knows where the middle is, I'm going to use this top axis. So I've selected the shape, select the axis, and now you can see that it's basically rotated that shape all the way around. But we actually want it to go down the length of this shaft, so it's the threaded part, the bolt part, if you want. Okay, so what we're going to do is bring it down. And you can see it brings one edge down, and on this circle here it says 360 degrees. So if you actually pull on the arrows, you can go all the way around, keep on going around, keep on going around, keep on going around, and you want to get to about 1,600, I'd say. Let's go to 1,600. And that's looking right. So it's basically coiled itself around that main stem. And I'm going to hit OK. So just so you can see what that's doing. And now we need to subtract this triangle shape that's coiling around from that main shaft. So the way you do it is you hit your tools, hit subtract. It's asking what is the original that you want to keep. So we actually want to keep the shaft, but then we're going to cut away. So we've hit the shaft once, and then we click on this second, hit OK, and then it's showing us that section's been cut away, leaving a nice thread on the top of that piece. Feel free to rewind the video right there to keep on going through that, because this is probably the most difficult part of it, is making the thread. Now we've got one of our bolts. I'm just going to double tap on the shape, and I just want to rotate it 180 degrees, because actually this top bit is actually going to be in the bottom. It's the bit that screws into the base. So I'm going to just go around. I'll just go minus 180, and that's flipped it around really nicely. Okay, and we've got that there. And if we go into our items, you can find where our body is that we've just made. And if you wanted to at this point, you could actually rename it. So if you swipe to the left and hit that icon, you can actually name it. So if I put acetylpin pin 1, and whilst we're here, I could do that with the base as well. Rename the base to base. Brilliant. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hide this settle pin, because there's going to be 2 of those in our design, so we can just simply copy the first one. But now I want to make the aluminium pin, which is a lot longer, slightly thicker in piece of metal, but done in very much the same way. So now with all the layers hidden, so it looks like a brand new document, we're going to then start doing the aluminium pin. So once again, I'm going to go to the top view. Let's click the top view, bring those 2 axis points, because I want where the 2 axis points meet, I want to basically be the middle. It makes it nice and easy. Start sketching. So for this aluminium piece, it's actually a diameter of 12.6. So 12.6. Done our circle there. Exit the sketch. And in total, that's going to be 50 millimeters high. So I'm going to select it, extrude it up, type in 50. Perfect. And on the base, because this is going to be the top, remember, when I flip it around, it's going to select this, and we're going to do a chamfer on the end. And I'm just going to do a 2 mil chamfer. So 2 mils there. I've dragged it, and I can see it says 2 mil just there. I'm going to select the top side to do another sketch, because we're going to do the threaded part. And once again, it's going to be a 6 millimeter shaft. There we go, 6 millimeter. Just zoom out. There we go. I'm going to select that and then extrude that up 5 millimeters. That's right. And deselect all. Got to do the same as we did with the acetyl pin. So I'm going to do a 1 mil chamfer just on this edge. And then we've got to create the threaded part again. So this is going to be a repeat of what we did before. So I'm just going to go to a front mode, front view, zoom in a little bit, and then start my sketch. And I'm going to go from this corner here up to there, next one up to there, and then next one down. Zoom out again, exit sketch. Okay, to revolve this around the top, what we're going to do is select this, go to revolve. That's already selected because we just did, and then we select the top axis, and then it's going to revolve around the axis like that. Obviously, we're going to bring it down to about 4.6, 4.5 just for now, and then rotate this round. And like we said before, it's about 1,600, did we say? Yeah, that's good. Hit done. And then we need to subtract this new coiled shape. So we select the actual shaft, then select the triangle spiral and hit OK. And now what we have is a nice threaded part on the top of our aluminium pin. Last thing to do with this is just to double click it, and then we're going to rotate it 180 degrees. So now we've got the pin finished, we want to assemble everything together. So what I'm going to do is zoom out a little bit. I'm going to just double click on this part. I'm just going to bring it out the way because I'm going to start to uncover the pieces that we've made. So we've got the base. I'm going to unhide. There we go. That's now visible. And then we need the acetyl pin, which is there. Okay. The acetyl pin, what I'm going to do is just double tick it and then bring it out, just so you can see everything how it's meant to be side by side. Okay, so what we have is one central pin is going to be the long aluminium bar. So what I can do, let's drag this, double tap it, and we can drag this over and try and line it up as best as you can to that hole that you've got. And the way I check, just to double check that you've got that in the right space, is to flip it around, and I can see the pin is just coming through that middle hole there, so I know that's in the perfect right position. And then we're going to do exactly the same for double tap, bring it in, just double check this is in the right space. Oh, this one isn't in the right space, so I'm just going to drag it over again. There we go. Okay, and I need to make a copy of that plastic acetyl pin. So if you hit the copy and then drag, it'll make a copy of it. And then same again, we're just going to move it over. I can see that it's just off center on this one. So all I'm going to do is drag it back over. There we go. All of those exactly where they're meant to be. They're all at the right height as well. So all the threaded inserts go inside the 5mm worth of base. But one thing that we don't have is actually the internal threads on those holes of the base. So to show you what I mean, I am going to double click on all of these pieces and I'm just going to raise them up just for now. And you can see our holes don't actually have the threaded parts. So I'm going to show you how you can cut the threaded parts using the threaded parts that we've got up here. So I'm going to deselect all for now. And then I'm going to do this, let's do the aluminium one first, just so I can show you how this works. So the way that we're going to cut the threads in this hole is use the threads above, and we're going to subtract like we did to actually make those threads in the first place. But to do that, we're going to need to make a copy of the threaded part here. So I'm going to double tap on the bar here. Going to hit copy, and then we're going to bring it down, and I want it to be in exactly the right spot. So I'm going to hit front. Going to bring it down. And now I know that our threaded part is exactly where it needs to be on the hole. Obviously, like I said, this is a copy, so it's not affecting this top aluminium part. It'll make more sense as we go along. So what we need to do is, I'm just going to deselect all. We're going to go to Tools and go to Subtract. It says keep the original of. So we want to keep the original of the base, but also the original of the bottom part as well. So where I've selected these two, there's a plus on that first tap and there's a minus on the second tap. I want to hit that minus, so they're both pluses. And now hit the aluminium pin, and which is a minus, and hit done. And what you can see is it's cut the thread internally in that space. Okay, I'm going to repeat that with the other ones. But to do it, I'm just going to bring this one down first, because that can now sit really nicely in that threaded insert. I'm just going to make sure that all lines up properly because that's a bit too high at the moment. There we go. So we're going to do exactly the same on the other two. I could do these at the same time, but I think it's best if I show you a couple of repeated actions just so you can see it. So we're going to double click on this one. I'm going to hit copy and just drag it down into the hole. Just double check that it's actually going into the hole. That's in the hole now. Okay, deselect, and then what we're going to go to Tools, Subtract, and we want to keep the top one here. We want to keep the bottom one, but that's a minus, so hit it again. So they've both gone to that magenta color, and then a minus of the actual pin itself, and hit done. And you can now see you've got a threaded part of that hole. I can bring this one in just as it's nice and ready. There we go. Perfect. And then one last one. We'll just do it again just so you can see. So double click on this pin. I'm going to copy it down here. And then there we go. Deselect. And then we go to Tools, Subtract. So we're going to click on this one, bottom one, click the bottom one again to turn it into a plus, and then minus the actual pin itself and hit OK. And you can see that now that has a thread on it too. So double tap, bring it down, make sure that's set really perfectly. Just gonna give it a tweak. There we go. So now we have everything where it should be. You've got threads cut on the internal parts of the hole and the external parts of the pin. Now we can do the fun part, which is the visualizing, so we can associate materials and colors with certain parts to make it look all nice. So we need to get it into visualizer mode now. So going up into that top corner, click and then hit visualization. So you can see it gets to a little bit more of a photographic based visual, a lot higher definition. So first things first, I'm going to do the base. So what you can do is find, say, the aluminium, brushed aluminium first, and I'm going to drag that onto this top part, and you can see this top section is the aluminium that we want it to be. Nice. And then the part underneath, I want it to be a colored acrylic. I want to do it, say, a dark navy translucent acrylic. So here I can see standard acrylic, so I'm going to drag that across. It goes a little bit funky at the moment because you get the diffraction through it, and that's clear. So I want to turn that blue. So what you can do is go back up to the top here with the used materials, just open up the acrylic, and I'm going to change the color. So I'm going to go to a nice blue, mid dark blue, hit done. At the moment it's quite hard to see that blue because the background's all black. So on this top section here, you can click environment and then pick a different background. So if I do that, you can actually see you've got the nice blue underneath. Okay, so the next part is the long pin at the top here. We know that that's aluminium, so we have got brushed aluminium already in our materials. So what you can do is just drag that brushed aluminium across. Instantly turns that into our nice brushed aluminium pin. And these two are actually acetyl plastic. It's not really necessarily a glossy plastic. It's more of a matte. So I would probably say leave it as the default material because that actually gives you a nice crisp, quite plain looking plastic. But we can change the color of that. So if we open the default material and then go to, say, a white, that's it. That looks more natural to how the acetyl pins would look. So that comes to the end of our ShapR tutorial. You can see the different materials now. Looks really nice. You can see how to do the tricky things like the threading, making multiple layers but changing the materials. So yeah, I hope you got on okay. Like I said, if that was a little bit too much to take in, obviously replay the video, go through it again. Or like I said in the first part of the video, is just watch the and play along with the pizza cutter example, because that will show you all the ins and outs. This is a little bit more advanced, but hopefully you could get to this sort of stage in your own work. Thank you.